All right, guys, welcome back. The People's National Party held their 86th annual conference on Sunday, September 15, 2024. A lot was said, and a few public figures made appearances at the conference. So zooming in to do a recap with us is political commentator Kevin O'Brien Chang, who is on Zoom. Hello, sir.
Morning, sir. Welcome.
Morning, everybody.
How are you, sir?
Hello, you hearing me?
Yep,
yes,
I'm
sir,
hearing you loud and clear.
How
are you?
Us?
Are you hearing me?
I'm here.
Hi, are you hearing me?
Loud and clear, sir. Can you hear us?
All right. Yeah, man, I'm hearing you good, yeah.
Good morning and welcome. Thanks for being with us, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, but we have some specific points that we want to talk about. But before I get there, get an overall view, an overall comment from you for what you saw, what you heard.
It's a pretty entertaining conference. There's a lot of vibes in more ways than one. You know, an energetic crowd. And, you know, you saw a lot of the poetry of campaigning with the speakers riling up the crowd, getting them excited, lots of music. And Mr. Golding gave a pretty good speech, the best speech I've ever heard him give, Mark Golding. I was quite impressed. A couple of negative points in it, but mostly positive. And so overall, I think the PNP they're energized, confident, they feel like the government in waiting. And that's what you want from an opposition. Keep government on its toes. If it slip, it slide. So I think that's a good look overall. There's one controversial feature, of course, with Elijah Palmer, Vibes Cartel, up on the stage, and the reviews are mixed. Some like it, some don't. Yeah. It's almost become a kind of a litmus test for Jamaica. You know, what kind of country are we? And some have no problem, some have a problem. As usual in our democracy, which we're lucky to have, the people will decide if it is a good thing or not a good thing.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Adidja Palmer's appearance, sir, the question is, was it all enough, though? You know, with everybody who came there on stage, was it all enough to get them to the finish line for the next election?
Well, we won't know till election. The JLP still has their conference to come. We don't know what kind of show they're going to put on. But I'm telling you, something caught my attention. I could be wrong, but this is my impression. At the PNP conference, right here, mostly dancehall, a lot of music. Not much gospel. At the JP conference, you tend to hear a lot more gospel. And it's very crude simplification. It's almost like you have a dancehall party versus a gospel party. And it's a curious thing, you know, I was asking Oprah and Apollo the other day, which is more popular in Jamaica, dancehall or gospel? And Jamaica has two sides, you know. We are not a one-sided country. We have the side of perhaps a vibe-based country on the planet, the dancehall, we're very sexual in our music. But then we're also one of the most Christian countries in the world. You know, gospel, the church is the bedrock of many families. So we're seeing the dichotomy of Jamaica on display in our political parties. It's expected. Politics has to reflect the character of the people. It's natural. It cannot be any other thing. And we see Jamaica, we look through one lens, music, dancing, sex. And then the other side, gospel, worshiping God. What are we as a people? Our politics is really showing a mirror to us to judge. And in the end, it's what the people like or don't like.
Yeah. Can you be a little bit more specific? You said earlier that it's the best speech you heard from Mr. Golding. Can you be a little bit more specific? Maybe just picking out one or two things that you heard that really impressed you?
I like the introduction very much. His son introduced him, and he saw his family. And Mr. Golding's family is you couldn't have a better example of the national motto, out of many, one people. His parents are British, up there, you know, doctors and all that. His wife is a working class black woman. They're married, 40 years they're together. Must be a good marriage. Their children are obviously mixed. And his son praised him, he praised his father. And he talked about how his service to the country's father always showed him. And all are equal. Everybody has a right, no matter your class, color, creed. You have a right to rise in life. Very strong on that aspect. I think emotionally he connected. And his speech he had some good suggestions. One that jumped out at me, he wants detention for known violence producers for crime. The police have been bought in for that for years. Hopefully he and the Prime Minister can come to an agreement in Parliament. He talked about the early childhood education. Critical thing in my view. We can't get Jamaica right without early childhood education. He had some good suggestions. And he talked about the blue economy, modernizing agriculture. So quite a good mix of emotion and intellect, cerebral. So I found it a quite good overall. The negatives to me, he started hitting in the media again, a certain media house. That should be a no-no for any leader. Our media is free. Let them express what their viewpoint is if you don't agree with it. And then the Integrity Commission, I believe, has been politicized, damaged, and he keeps going after it. And it has weakened the Integrity Commission tremendously. A lot of people have lost confidence in it and don't see its job to keep the politicians honest anymore, but it's a political thing. That's not good.
Yep.
Overall, I give it 8.5, but the negatives that make me drop a note for 7.557. But very, very good speed.
And what you heard are realistic things, because sometimes we say we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do that, everybody feel good, and then you say, where are you going to get the money from to do it, who going to do it? So what you heard are things that can happen, can be done? Not all of them.
A lot of them are promises that how we're going to pay for that. But listen, the detention of the violence producers, crime is Jamaica's #1 problem for donkey years. He said we want legislation to put the violence producers behind bars so we can build a case. That can be done. That doesn't take money. It does take for him and the Prime Minister to sit down in Parliament and say, we're going to do it. That does not cost any money. And that's the #1 problem in Jamaica. The early childhood education, listen, our debt to GDP ratio has come down. We can take a good chunk of that and invest in early childhood education. Nobody will quarrel with that, right? So those two, I don't see money being a problem. If Mr. Golding can come with those two things, I will say, you're doing a good thing, Mr. Golding. So that's not a money thing. That's a political will thing. Come to Parliament, say the same thing. We want to detain the violent producers to build stronger cases, and we want to invest more in early childhood education. Come, Mr. Prime Minister, join me on these issues. No reason if the two leaders agree on those things, they cannot be done. That's not a money issue. Neither of them.
Okay.
Yeah, the things that you mentioned are very important, and what you also started with is the entertainment value of the entire conference, right? You're talking about the presence of dancehall versus not much of gospel, right? Are we focusing on the wrong things? I mean, as an entertainment journalist, I understand how important it is that we have some kind of music to keep the vibe going and everybody getting into the right energy. But do we end up focusing on the wrong things when we have these events?
Listen, as I said at the beginning, politics will always reflect the people, the culture of the people. And I tell you this, nothing works in Jamaica without music. We perhaps might spend the greatest percentage of GDP on music in the world. We are known for our music. And in Jamaica, if you don't have music, it's going to flop no matter what you do. So I have no problem with the music entertaining. Politics has to be entertaining, We are a mature democracy, one of the most stable democracies on the planet. A wonderful record since 1962. No coups, no revolution, no assassinations, right? And entertainment is part of it. Ever since it began with Buster and Norman, we had music as part of our politics. It's part of who we are. So how can you expect to cut music out of politics? But in the end, it's people vote. They vote for a government. So you have the entertainment, but in the end, when people go to cast their ballot, they don't know about the music. Remember, who's going to make my life better? Which party? So I have no problem with the music. Mr. Cartel, the controversy is not because of his music. He's a musical genius. That's unquestioned. It's where he is coming from, where he has been the last 13 years. For what? That's the question. People are saying, what does he represent? And some people say he served his time, no problem. Some people say, no, he represents the wrong thing. He should be on the national stage. It's a national debate. It's a litmus test. And thank God for our freedom of speech. Everybody can express their views, and we'll come to a national consensus on what we really expect from our politicians.
So, Kevin, I absolutely know the value of the music industry, and I know what it definitely brings in rallying people together. But I think, especially for politics, and yes, it should be entertaining, but politics for us is us deciding on who leads us for the next couple of years and who are in our best interest based on what it is that they're saying that they will do for us. So what I'm asking is, are we paying more attention to that which is distracting than what it is that we're actually voting for? Have we gotten enough out of the conference? And this is PNP's conference, and I'm sure GLP's conference is coming up as well, about the plans for us as citizens in Jamaica who will have to live, of course, with the music every day, but we'll have to live with all the other realities.
Yeah, but as I said, you had the poetry of the campaigning. Richard Nixon once said, you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. We saw a lot of the poetry, the music, but Mr. Golding's speech was substantial. He didn't give all the, a lot of the other guys were just, blah, 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 DLP, wicked, this and that was suffer. Mr. Golding gave things we can take away and put into legislation if there's political unity. So I thought it was a good mixture of both. And you have to have both in politics. If people get bored with politics, they just turn off and can't bother. Yep. You have to get your people engaged. Yep. Okay. And as I said in the beginning, nothing works in Jamaica without music. So I thought it was a good mixture of the entertainment and the education. That is my view. The vibes cartel question, the people of Jamaica will decide which is a good thing or a bad thing.
Yep. Final question from me, sir. The Kampong Maroon chief, Richard Curry, was also there. How do you feel?
Well, Mr. Curry is a great PR person. Does he represent all the Maroons? He's not the only Maroon chief. There are other Maroons around the place. So the Maroon chief is a misnomer. There are other Maroons. And does he represent the Maroons as a whole? But the other thing too, Jamaica have these debates among the people. What is Jamaica's view of the Maroons? The most people in Jamaica view the Maroons positively or negatively. We know they're great, brave freedom fighters got their independence. But on the other hand, they caught the slave. They caught Sam Sharp. They caught Bogle. They caught Taki. So there are two sides to the Maroons. And again, it's another debate, just like with the cartel, a debate about him. It brought the debate again. How do Jamaicans view the Maroons? Positively or negatively. And as I said, no one person can say it's a national debate, you'll come to a national consensus. But again, it's great that we're talking about these things. So no problem with bringing a Maroon chief up there. He's not the Maroon chief, and let us have a national debate, which is a good or bad thing. Again, my view is irrelevant. It's what people think overall.
All right. Thanks a lot for speaking with us, sir. Always good to have you on us. Have you on here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Blessings, sir.
Take care. Keep entertaining us, guys. We love to see it.
Thanks very much. Political commentator, Mr. Kevin O'Brien Chang.
All right, guys, after the break, we look at some important occurrences that take place in the month of September. Stay with us.